Hey, folks, good evening and welcome to the strategy session. I am joined tonight by the great Stuart Stevens, author of the book, The Conspiracy to, I'm so sorry, I'm just gapping on everything, to End America. I was going to say destroy, but it's end.
And it's a great
Also,
book. It's a great book.
it is
I've
a
been
great
reading
book.
it.
It is
Yeah,
available now.
there it is.
Get The Conspiracy to End America wherever fine books are sold. If you really, really, really want to understand how the depths of the problem we're facing, Stewart has written
Yeah.
a absolutely essential guide. It's short, it's punchy, it's strong, and I cannot recommend it enough. We did a podcast together about it aired a couple days ago yesterday. Go listen to it. You're going to understand why this book is so very important right now. So, folks, it has been a hell of a busy day. I want to start with you, Stuart. Today, Tom Emmer lasted 1/60th of a Scaramucci in his battle to become the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Talk us a little bit about where you see the entire
Oh my
House
God.
situation going.
Well, I haven't ruled you out, Rick.
I volunteer as tribute.
I will.
think
I will rule Rick out.
you could volunteer for tribute. That would be appropriate. So his greatest crime apparently was that he actually thinks Joe Biden is president legally, which is completely unacceptable in the Republican Party. You know, if this was like a fifth grade homeroom, it would be just sort of silly. But in so much as it is actually the House of Representatives, it's a lot more than silly.
Right.
You know, the thing that strikes me is normally you could unify people, Democrat or Republican Party, right, by standing up and saying, look, we may not like each other, you may not like me, but this is really important that what we're going to do, it's what we believe in. We're going to do X, we're going to do Y. I'm asking you for the good of the country, come together, support me so that we can pursue our agenda. But what is their agenda? So elect me speaker so that we can do Hunter Biden's laptop. You know, elect me speaker so that we can help Vladimir Putin. I mean, you know, he might lose the war if we don't help him. And there's no policy there. There's no plans. It's a replay of what happened in 2018 when they got their ass pretty much kicked. And it's just the damnedest thing for a party that wants, like to call itself the party of ideas. And there are no ideas. So,
Yep.
I mean, at this point, who wants the job? I mean, I'd take the third guy in Al Qaeda over this.
Well, he withdrew like minutes after Donald Trump said, you know, making him the speaker would be an enormous mistake and disastrous. So, you know, anybody who thought that Biden was legitimately elected is not going to pass that Biden that Trump test. You know,
it really is
You know, I said last week I spent a lot of the week saying the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Now the definition of insanity is the MAGA-driven GOP caucus. I mean, it really is just no way. I just don't see how they find somebody that will. But first of all, you still have the 18 members who are elected in the Biden seats, who I think are going to find it fundamentally tough to support somebody who believes Joe Biden isn't the president of the United States and stands for the lies. So you've got those two very different groups, and how they find somebody that they can agree to. I don't see how that happens, and Trump's going to keep playing.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think Trump's influence in this thing is so substantial that none of them are willing to step over that line and say the election was legitimately decided. And you know, as much as you want to sort of say we've got to do this for the good of the country, there's a part of me that looks at this as something that is long overdue for the Republicans to have to really own the unbelievable irresponsibility and danger that lie consists of, and that forcing them into this frame where we really show their character once and for all, because it's going to keep going. There is no end in sight, right? Stuart, I don't see anybody other. I mean, Elise Stefanik's scratching out names in her Trapper Keeper notebook, but other than that, this thing is just going to go on and on and on.
This is becoming like Madame Defarge's list,
Right.
They're sitting there.
Nat Gates as Robespierre.
Yeah,
but Elise Stefanik is a good. You just know this is how you know there's no solution, because her blind ambition to become speaker is unparalleled. I mean, she wants so desperately to be speaker, but she's never entered it. She's never put her hat in the ring. Why? Because she knows it's not going to happen. So until you see her step up, there is, I mean, and by the way, if she does, it won't happen either. That's my point here. But she's a good sign of how impossible this task is, because with all her ambition, she isn't stepping up to the plate. A lot of other people, probably, wishful thinkers, are going to probably throw their hats in today. I guess they're doing it again right now. But I don't see
Rick, remember when we like to say in the party that Republican Party were the adults in the room, the competence party, the calm party. I mean, all of this has just been blown to smithereens. It was probably always more marketing slogan than truth, but still, I mean, you look at this, I just can't believe that anybody in the country who's paying attention to this at all thinks that this is a party that we should put in power. We should give them the presidency. We should give them the Senate.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
Joe,
go ahead.
What I think tells you though is just how still we all, even us, underestimate how big and controlling this group has over the party. I mean, in other words, how it really is. It's not 10% or 20% of the American people. I mean, it is a much bigger group. It's clearly a majority of the party in terms of they cannot buck these MAGA folks. If they do, they know they're dead. Even those who know that if they don't buck the MAGA folks, I mean, the ones in the Biden districts, they're dead. They still would rather take their chances with Trump and MAGA. And that just tells you the power. I think we still underestimate how tough it is for any of them to move.
I mean, that's right, Joe. I mean, look, and even though they have the time and time again, they have these examples of why they should.
Right. They
won't. So before we move on to the next segment, we are giving away copies of Stuart's book tonight. You can enter to win for a chance of an autographed copy and Resolute Square swag, which I don't even have any swag. So, okay. 3 winners will be announced at the end of the show. There's a link at the bottom. Click there, and you will be entered to win. Your chances are good tonight, folks. I want to move on now to today's enormously satisfying Jenna Ellis meltdown. Watching her have to plead, and her allocution was like eating the biggest turd sandwich in the history of mankind. I am shocked how profoundly she flipped and how quickly she fell. So I was just curious if you guys had a thought on that, and why doesn't it send a signal that any of these idiots, the closest people in his circle, are going to be thrown off the sled first?
Yeah, the book Landslide.
Yep.
That the New York, what's his name, Michael, the guy who's in New York, wrote for New York Magazine for a while. That is just a tremendous book that has a portrait of her as this just loathsome character who sort of stumbled into history and felt that no sense of any right or wrong, no sense of anything of what's best for the country. I mean, this is someone who was excited about hanging out with Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell.
Trust me, it's overrated.
I mean, it's just there's
Well,
just such pathetic small people, and these are the people that Trump elevated. You know,
Mm-hmm.
this is Gorka, this is Kellyanne Conway, this
Sure.
is um, crazy
Stephen Miller,
Fontana,
all of them.
Lewandowski,
Sure.
all of these just horrible human beings that he brought into his inner circle that actually gave them some semblance of power.
Yep.
So with that, and you now have Meadows. It looks like getting a cooperating immunity deal, getting immunity. It really is a question of how. I always thought that the Georgia case would move things faster because of plea deals. I just didn't expect it to move this quickly. And now the question I've got is with Jenna Ellis pleading, with the immunity deal with Meadows, how soon is it before Eastman and others start to realize, that their best path out is to do a plea deal too, and this could really spin out of control in terms of Trump having any real ability to sort of stem the bleeding that's going to occur in public.
Right.
I think.
Right. Well, I want to move on, guys, to the next topic tonight because I think we're gonna. I don't think Jenna's the last. She was just one of the most amusing.
Yeah.
I want to move on to the entry into the race of
Don't
Glenn
get
Phillips.
me started.
He is a Democratic member of Congress from Minnesota. He is a wealthy guy. He owns the Talenti Ice Cream Company, makes yogurt and frozen yogurt and ice cream and gelato, whatever it is. And he's surrounded now by a couple of consultants who are telling him, hey, there's no reason you can't run for president. You could defeat Joe Biden in a Democratic primary. Guys, let's just break this down for the audience for a minute. I wrote about it today. I did a video about it today. But let me start with you, Joe, as an expert on Democratic Party politics, primary politics. How's it going to go for Glenn Phillips? Or what is it? Dean Phillips.
Dean Phillips, yeah.
Dean Phillips in the next few weeks.
He is going to be dead man walking. I mean, what's astounding about this is the number of people, and we've all talked about this before, the number of people who, and there's plenty of them on the Republican side, who get into races for president of the United States without any clue, I mean, completely clueless of what it takes to run for president of the United States, completely unprepared and not understanding the nomination process. And if you understand anything about the Democratic Party nominating process, Iowa's not there anymore. New Hampshire's not there anymore, but Dean Phillips is going to put his name on the ballot courageously, to suck up to the people of New Hampshire who are pissed off at the Democratic Party that they're skipping New Hampshire being first. So I guess, look, maybe he should win New Hampshire with 80-90% of the vote, right? He's not running against anybody. Biden's name won't be on the ballot.
Right.
But then after that, I mean, assuming that even that happens, he's dead the rest of the way. You go to South Carolina. I mean, there is no way after New Hampshire that he has a chance of a snowball in hell of getting the nomination, and which just makes this like a fantastical ego trip, in which everybody who's ever tried it, and we can go back to every time somebody's done this, the only thing they accomplished was face planting. And not having any chance, not really contesting the nomination. Maybe Reagan against Ford, but even that got you Jimmy Carter. And that's the other thing. The only thing it does is weaken your party's nominee.
Right. It's Pat Buchanan versus Bush 41.
Yeah, exactly. That's how, he just Buchanan did nothing but help defeat Bush.
Right.
So that's the only thing that Dean Phillips can accomplish. And given that, hey, back then, I'm glad that my guy, the Democrats benefited from that, and I really wouldn't worry that much if it was Romney or McCain or some potential Republican nominee, about taking it on. But in the end, no, it's Donald Trump. That's all he's going to help. He's going to end up like No Labels and Cornel West. He'll be out there in the Democratic primary, weakening Biden and softening things up so that Cornel West and No Labels can draw votes away. But I think in the end, what I really think is, given that he's a problem solver and he's received a lot of No Labels money, the real question is this his attempt to become the Democrat on the No Labels ticket? You get in, you go up in New Hampshire, it doesn't count because there's no delegates. You run around for the rest of the year, and then like RFK Jr., I'm not going to do this Democratic thing. I'm going to run as instead of as an independent, run with No Labels. It's the only. Otherwise, it's a suicide. I mean, that's a suicide mission too.
Yeah.
Both ways help Donald Trump win, and that's where
every message he uses against Biden, and they're already flagging. They're going to use he's too old. They're going to try to gold watch the guy. That is going to be picked up and used by Chris LaCivita and the Trump campaign tomorrow. Stuart, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, look, with when Buchanan ran, he actually had a point of view. He had a passion. He really, in many ways, was a precursor to what happened with Trump. And I don't. What is this guy's argument? Is it just like life insurance mortality tables? I mean, what is it? So a rich kid who inherited a bunch of money and runs a gelato company, who's been in Congress less than Matt Gaetz, is going to run for president?
No, when Israel, Gaza, Ukraine. I mean, this guy couldn't find his way to the Situation Room if his life depended on it. And if he did make it in there, guess who would be there? All the folks Joe Biden has in that room. Yeah. I mean, it's like he voted with Biden 100% of the time. So this is not possibly going to be a policy debate, which would, okay, that's fine. You want to debate, policy differences? Let's go. But there are none. He voted. His message. Make America affordable again. I mean, really, who came up with that? But that's his slogan. He voted. I mean, what is it? He voted for the infrastructure bill. He voted for the Inflation Reduction Act. He voted for all the things he voted for the supply chain thing, all the things that Biden put out there. So how do you make it? What is your case that you're going to make it more affordable than than Biden getting $35 insulin caps for diabetic medicine and patients? I mean, what is your argument? Even if that's what your slogan's going to be, he doesn't have a foot to stand on. It is literally a suicidal ego trip that can only damage Biden and hurt Biden's chances of defeating Trump, which No Labels is into too. So, again, it's kind of, there's some coincidences that continue to sort of form up here between his connection with problem solvers. I think Harlan Crow also maxed out to Dean Phillips. I mean, there's a lot of same money kind of spinning around all this stuff.
It really is absurd, and I think there's a degree of we all know that some candidates want to be told they can win even if they can't.
Yeah,
he clearly strikes me as that guy, right, Stuart?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things a consultant can do is telling a potential candidate not to run.
Right.
And we've all done that. And it really is when you put their interest at heart, and you have to just tell them the truth. Look, you're not going to win here. And if you want to have any sort of future in the Democratic Party, how's that going to work out? I mean, did Pat Buchanan have a future in the Republican Party?
No.
Nope. I mean, it's not. So, I mean, go back to Joe. You worked for Ted Kennedy when he ran against Carter, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that he had a point of view, You know,
Well, no,
he
yeah, no,
ran from the left
we fought it out on
on
policy,
policy.
but
Yeah.
even those policy fights weakened Carter in the general.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's different. What it makes this so different because even Buchanan had policy differences with George H.W. Bush.
Yeah, and
This is
Buchanan brought out he dragged Bush 41 into fighting
right,
about things like NAFTA and
right.
trade,
Yeah,
which was the sweet spot to welcome in once Buchanan flamed out Ross Perot, who cost the Republicans the
right,
presidency.
right. And so that's where I think Phillips is in a lot of ways more damaging because I doubt there'll be policy differences, and it will be the age, but ignoring the fact I'm a new fresh face, ignoring the fact that that it's the wisdom and experience of Biden on Israel on holding an alliance together for Ukraine that he has no hope of replicating.
No.
None.
I mean,
He would know.
it's almost insulting how deeply unserious this guy
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, as we continue on, you mentioned Joe No Labels a couple times, and folks, No Labels has a brand new scam that they're trying to run. So for months and months and months, for the better part of this year, No Labels has been saying over and over again, we can win 270, we can sweep the board, we can win this election, we can take this election outright. Our moderate candidate can win this election outright. Well, we called the BS on it from a long time ago. We've taken point on fighting them for a long time because we looked at those numbers and they were just made up. They were just BS. And now the absurdity has reached a whole new level because their new theory is, well, we're going to go with our candidate into the following key states, and then we'll make it a tie ball game so no one gets 270, and we'll throw the election to the House of Representatives. Now, what they're saying, y'all, you should think about this. No Labels is saying we want to turn the election over to Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Andy Biggs, Paul Gosar, and the rest of the insane people. That's what they're telling you now. So if anyone has a guess on who the MAGAs would put up for president in a tied situation, I can't quite get to it. Which one is it?
Well, that's the amazing thing, Rick. Here are the people who can't pick a speaker will agree 100% on who the president should be, Donald Trump. And so that just tells you everything. That's what No Labels is trying to do. And in the end, I know we're talking about them separately, but I still believe all these things. There's too many coincidences here where the money's flowing and different
the
things
staff,
like that.
The money.
I mean that this is a concerted effort to weaken and defeat Joe Biden and make Trump president of the United States. And I'm sure there's some well-meaning people involved in it. But they're just being usefully used, by those that want to make Donald Trump president of the United States and are playing games behind the scenes with dark money and other things.
Yep.
Yeah, we should just go through how it works in the House of Representatives because we haven't done this in a little bit.
Yeah.
Like 200 years. The way it works is the new Congress is the Congress that votes. And each state gets one vote. So California gets the same votes as Mississippi.
Right.
And the vote is determined by the makeup of the congressional districts.
Correct.
So you're going to have Mississippi is going to be Republican. California, which represents 1 out of every, 10 voters in America?
Yep. Is
going to be Democratic. And somebody thinks this is a good idea. It is just an absurd sort of vesicle of a dead idea when we were just going to elect electors because we couldn't trust people. And let's just get started. So an independent is going to run, and an independent is going to base their whole campaign on the failure of the Democratic and Republican parties. and then it's going to go into the House, which is full of Democrats and Republicans, and then they're going to vote for the independent. They're going to go, hey, you were right. We really are.
And
it's just the most absurd.
But the other thing is that the current makeup is that 26 of those states, their one vote are Republican, and 24 are Democrat currently. That could conceivably change, not likely, not that much. Even if the Democrats gain the House back, it could still be that those delegations would be in a 26-24, because, like you said, California gets one vote, Alabama gets one vote, New York, one vote, Wyoming, one vote. So you keep doing that. And 26 of those are red states that have pretty strong Republican delegations that are not likely to change in the 2024 election.
Think about
that's
what
what
this would
throwing
do.
It to.
What this would do to the sort of what's left of the social fabric in the country. I mean, it would just tear this country apart. You're going to toss out. You're going to have millions and millions of people voting. Probably more people are going to vote in the next election than any election before in history, assuredly. Yep. So we're just going to toss all those votes out, and then it's going to come down to one vote per state. I mean, it would tear the country apart. It'd be far worse than 1/7, because there was something to hold on to there.
Yeah,
you could.
I think it really is one of the most frightening moments that we've had in a long time, and there's this confluence of all these things happening right now, and I think we need to be very alert as a country to the risks of this kind of, things fall apart as you were writing in your book, Stuart. And by the way, folks, we're going to announce the winners of Stuart's book here in a few minutes, right? Right, team. And they are. I'm going to do it right now. Oh, first off, I have to say, I want to look back on one thing about the Emmer fight and the House news. Right now, there is a news story that's broken from Ali Vitale at MSNBC saying that Kevin McCarthy's mounting a comeback bid, baby. And Deborah Tessman, who's a friend of ours for a long time here in the chat, I think tonight as well, she has expressed a phrase that I'm going to adopt now. It's called Stefanik. Anytime Elise Stefanik endorses somebody, they're going down hard.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, I had a friend once who married the same woman 3 times.
So no.
This is what the McCarthy thing is getting to be like,
right?
It's it's further absurd because you can pick anybody in the country who is qualified to be president.
Once again, I've offered my reign would be brief and cruel and fair. It's all I can say.
But he will bow and curtsy and make whatever vacate the vacate bill vote bill deal again. Maybe he can. Again, how long he would hold it, even if he gets it, would be ridiculous. I mean, the whole concept's ridiculous. But even if he does, whatever deals he makes will unfold within the next 25 days before we ever even get to the budget thing. It's insane.
And I can see Matt Gaetz engineering it so Kevin gets the job and then he kills him again.
I want to say one thing about Stuart's book. Okay.
Yes.
I joined I didn't know Rick Wilson very well or Reed very well. I was afraid of both of them, but from past stuff. But I did, and Stuart, we had done big battles and was always worried if I was on the other side of him. But when I was at the University of Chicago as a fellow, and listened to his insight with him. He was there too. And I learned so much about what was going wrong and the insights he had about what was happening in America that we weren't all addressing. And when that's what made me enter the Lincoln Project and join with him and Rick and Reed. But when I read this book, The Conspiracy to End America, it again rang true to me about why I joined these guys and why I believe so strongly that Stuart really understands what's happening and what we need to do. And so I really urge people, if get the book. I know I joked early on when we started, but it's not a joke. This is a really important book. I hope
It really is.
you'll read it.
And I want to say that our winners tonight are Colleen LaPola of Plymouth, Michigan, Gene Narr of Houston, Texas, and Dylan Bernard, of Berwyn, Illinois. Thank you all for entering tonight. And what a fun little thing we did. I mean, wow, he did a little thing. And guys, you will love this book. You can read it. It is not a Proustian thing. You can go through it because the points are so elegantly made and so tightly argued and so beautifully written.
Absolutely.
You will sit down, read this book for a few hours, and come away, I think, with two things.
Depressed.
One, you'll be scared to death. But the other is you'll understand that there's a pathway for us to save it.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a way for us out of this morass and out of this chaos. And it really is important that we focus on being real about the threat, but also being real about our role as Americans to try to turn it around and save it. So, Stuart, anything on the way out?
I'd just like to say that when Joe and I were at the University of Chicago, I basically didn't say anything and just listened to Joe. So I appreciate those gracious words. But I really did learn a lot. And that was in 2016. And I was the guy saying that Trump, this was the winner of 16. And I was still saying that Trump will never be the Republican nominee because it's just obvious. The Republican Party is not going to nominate a guy that talks in public about having sex with his daughter. I mean, that's just, that's not the Republican Party.
It's what we all wanted to believe and what too many people still believe. He can't be reelected.
Yeah, listen, I mean, as of right now, Donald Trump defeated 17 candidates in 2016. He is going to end up defeating another 10 this year. The guy's got a hell of a track record of killing Republicans. So, folks, he's going to be the nominee. Anyway, well, listen, everybody, it is 7:32. I promise you we're going to do 7:30 tonight. I almost landed the plane on time. Stuart and Joe, I really appreciate you guys coming on tonight. Very fun show. Folks, get Stuart's book. It is outstanding. Listen to The Trippy Show, which is Joe's excellent podcast. You can listen to my show, The Enemies List. We got to get Stuart on a podcast of his own at some point.
Yeah.
But
I'm too busy listening to your guys. I don't have time.
It is a pleasure having you all here with us tonight. Thanks to everybody in the chat tonight. Really great community, great discussion. And we will see you guys again next week.
Thanks all.
See you guys.
Take care.